So this is going to be your proper guide on how to get all but one intel inside Firebase Z. But before we get into that, I want to quickly go over a few disclaimers. One is that no, I don't know where the Dark Aether artifact is, and I don't know if it's glitched or what's going on, but once I find out what's going on, there'll definitely be a pinned comment telling you guys exactly how to get this Dark Aether artifact, whether when it's found inside the map or that if it's fixed through maybe a patch because it's currently glitched. But another thing I want to mention is that there's two fake spots for intel on the map for the Maxis and Requiem intels, or the radio intels. And so if you don't see them in this video, that's why, because they're not real intels, or at least currently not real intels. Another thing I should mention is that some of these intels that you're going to get are going to require you to rather do side Easter eggs or the main Easter eggs. I'm not telling you how to do those in this video, obviously, but I will point out when in the Easter egg that you will be able to pick these up. And finally, keep in mind that the word you are going to see your Firebase Z intel is going to be under Season 1, meaning that this intel is going to be included some of your D Machina intel. So if you do see some missing that aren't mentioned in here, there's a good chance that those are actually from D Machina that you haven't actually collected yet. And if you guys want to collect those, I'll have a video hopefully on screen right now that you can click on and do that. But with that quick disclaimer out of the way, let's get into this. So the first one I want to do is pretty much the universal one that's going to get you all of the documents for Omega, Maxis, and Requiem. And how you're going to do this is just by killing boss zombies, and eventually they'll drop them, whether it be a Mangler or a Mimic. Just keep killing them, and after you kill them, just look on the floor, see if they're there. If they are, go ahead and collect that little piece of document, and you'll be on your way. Now, there is maybe an exception to one of these intels, and it's going to be by doing the side Easter egg to get the perk out of the save. And as you see in my game, I do find the C cipher in here, but I don't pick it up, and my teammate picks it up somehow, which really shouldn't work because it's player specific. But regardless, it disappears, and then just randomly later in that game, I just find it on the floor, which is weird, and I don't exactly know why that's the case, but it's kind of how it is. So I don't know if the C cipher is exclusive to the safe or not, but you know, just do it. If you are missing the C cipher, just go ahead and check inside the safe and see if you find any missing documents in there. Now moving on to the specific ones for the different types of intel, and this one's going to be for the Dark Aether intel, and this one's pretty easy because you get them all the exact same way, because all you have to do is do trials that say an intel trial that let you know this is an intel trial, and just do those trials and go really hard at them, and eventually you will be able to get all of these intels minus the artifact, because we still don't know that currently. But just do that and keep going at those and just really go hard at the intel trials. And if you don't care about like doing the regular trials, you can just completely ignore regular trials and just go hard at the intel trials. Next one we're going to are the Requiem intel, and the first one we're going to talk about are the radio transmissions. The radio transmissions are collected by going to the exact same spot in multiple games and just interacting with this radio, and it'll give you a radio transmission. Keep in mind you can only go to this once per game, so you have to do it multiple different times in multiple different games. But eventually, as you just kind of passively do it while you're playing the game anyway, just remember, oh wait, have I gone to this game? And if you haven't, go and interact with this thing, and eventually you'll run out of radio transmissions to collect, and you will know you have all the radio transmissions for Requiem. Moving on to the audio logs, there are 3 around the map. The first one is going to be right above Pack Punch on a bench, and you'd go ahead and pick that thing up. Second one is going to be in the lower area of data center. It's going to just be on top of the stuff. Go and pick that up. The final one is going to be in military command. It's going to be hidden right under this table. Again, go ahead and pick that up. This takes us to the artifacts, and all the artifacts that are collected for Requiem are going to be alongside building the Ray K. So just go ahead and build the Ray K and just keep your eye out for a couple of these things along the way. The first one, of course, is going to be the blueprint, which you have to get. But after that, you have to get the weapon trial folder, which is going to be right next to the zombie that you have to get the eye from. So don't forget to pick this up. You'll probably have noticed it already. Just go ahead and pick that up and you'll have a piece of intel. Next one is a little tricky because when you get the key and you start opening all of the lockers, you could actually just get the mimic to spawn and not even get this, but just go ahead and open all the lockers, or just open the lockers until you get the diary from the lockers, and you'll be able to do that. Of course, this one is one that a lot of people miss because they don't realize that you have to keep opening lockers even after you get the mimic you need to get the part for the wonder weapon. The final piece is just the wonder weapon itself. So when you build it, you'll collect it and you'll have the last piece of artifact intel for Requiem. This takes us to Omega. The first one we're going to talk about is radio transmissions. Same thing with the previous radio transmissions. This is something you have to collect once every game, and you have to do it as many times as many radio transmissions there are. Again, one per game. Just keep doing that every single time you play a game or start a new match. Just go ahead, stop over here, and just go to Peck's quarters, and you'll be able to interact with this thing, and you will be able to get your radio transmissions once you do it enough times in each individual game. After that, there's a lot of audio logs for Omega, so let's go through these. The first one is going to be in the planning's office under this table. The second one is going to be a real sneaky one. This was the last one I found and actually needed help by a random dude who showed up in my stream. But if you look on top of these pipes, you could actually shoot this thing down and you'll be able to collect this piece of intel. After that, there's one in mission control right above Peck. Next, there is one in Scorched Defense. It's just going to be on top of this box here. And then there's going to be in the field hospital, just on top of this. Next one after that is going to be inside the weapons lab, just right behind the Ray K building table. The seventh one is going to be in the colonel's office under this desk. And the final one, and this one actually requires you to get pretty far into the Easter egg, but it's going to be inside the OPC. Again, you have to be pretty far in the Easter egg. This one pretty much just, when you do the Easter egg, don't forget to go over to this corner and pick up this piece of intel, because if you do miss it and forget to do in that game, you're going to have to run the Easter egg all the way back just to get this piece of intel. And that wraps it up for the audio logs. Now for the Omega artifacts. The first one you want to get is going to be the eyeball, and just that's going to be along with the way of building the free Ray K. And you don't even need to build the Ray K, you just need to get to this point. Go ahead and grab the eyeball. The next one is while doing the Easter egg, when you get Ravenoff's ID. After that is when you are building the truth serum and mixing it together and you finally pick up that machine. The one after that is the essence trap that you use to suck in mimics. And the final one is going to be the ether meter that you need to do one of the final steps of the Easter egg. And that's going to wrap it up for the Omega intel. This brings us to our final set of intel, and this is going to be the Maxis intel. The first one is going to be radio transmissions. Again, you do this once per game, multiple different games. Again, but the place you want to do this at is Rocky Defense, and just go ahead, do this thing, interact with it, do that multiple times a game. Eventually, you'll be able to complete that thing. Next is the audio logs, and the first audio log is found right in spawn inside equipment storage, just going to be on top of this shelf. The other one is also in spawn, but in a little bit of a sneaky location that I don't even know how I spotted when I found it, but it's going to be right in the briefings room. You do have to have power on to get this area, but it's going to be just on top of this thing. Shoot it down. It takes a little while to load in after you shoot it down, sometimes even on the PS5, so just keep an eye out for it. And for the final one, and this one is also going to be very similar to the Omega Diary that you want to, or I guess no, the Requiem Diary, the intel, and except this is going to be for audio. Just keep opening lockers, and when you keep opening those lockers, eventually you will find the last and final Maxis radio or audio log inside there. But that's going to be about it for all the intel inside Firebase Z, minus that one Dark Aether intel, which again, I'll update you guys when we find out what's going on with that. But regardless, that's about it for this video. But if you guys don't actually want to do any of this to your stuff and you just want to hear the intel, then I already got a video playing all of the intel inside this entire game. So yeah, or this entire map. So if you guys just want to not care about that, then definitely I already have a video waiting for you. But that's about it for me. If you guys did enjoy this video and you guys found it useful, then definitely do all that normal YouTube stuff, like, subscribe, bell, share, and all that great stuff, because we're going to be continue covering Firebase Z in every extent. But that's about it for me, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.